Hey, this is Louis D. Fresh bringing it to you on a Friday afternoon. I hope you're doing well. Today we're going to talk about continuing with our little series. We're only going to do 3 parts. If you look back at my archives, we're doing a trade school this summer. I talked about what is a trade school. We talked also about air conditioning, HVAC, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. And today we're going to talk about becoming an electrician. And my last one is going to be being a plumber. And then there are others, but those are the 3 I'm going to focus in on this summer. I already did what is a trade school, air conditioning. We'll talk about electrician now, and then we'll talk about becoming a plumber to finish off this summer of 2023. I am going to take a couple of weeks off. As you look back at my social media, I did mention that on my Saturday, the YouTube thing. So I am going to take a couple of weeks off, and then we're going to hit my lake, something that I noticed that I want to share with you, a fish segment. And then we're going to finish up the plumbing in terms of plumber for trade school. So that's what's on the docket. A couple of weeks off, and then we're going to look at the lake, and we're going to take a look at plumbing. But today we're going to talk about electricity and how do you become an electrician. And simply what I did, because I'm not very techie, as you guys know, I literally Googled it, how to become an electrician. That was one of my old zip codes, 33176. And you definitely have a whole bunch of schools show up, you see. And so you really have a choice. And that's what you should do wherever you live, whether it be here in the United States or outside of the United States. Literally Google it, and you will see different things come up in terms of schools, colleges, how to become an electrician, like here in this particular case in the state of Florida, licenses, which I'll talk about briefly. So you have all these different things, and also you also may even want to talk to an electrician that may be in your area. So all these things are a good way to get started on becoming an electrician in order to fulfill a trade school, which is very, very important to becoming an electrician. Now let's take a look at our Canvas slides on how, in terms of a trade school, how to become an electrician. And again, to remind you, this was inspired to me by my volunteer school. Since they're not so crazy about college, I really want them to make sure that they have a career. And I probably will be sharing this with them once school kicks in, especially those main three things: the air conditioning, the electrician, and plumbing. And again, this is not just for men. This is men and women, because women are definitely needed in these fields for trade school. So you see here, trade school, becoming an electrician. Just give you thoughts, give you ideas on how to become an electrician. Continuing with these Canvas slides, again, this is courtesy of intercoast.edu. I definitely want to give them credit, because I like how they said it, because how they labeled it, these 5 things, and I definitely want to accentuate them. That's why I'm giving intercoast.edu credit here. Number 1, is this what you want? Research what it means to be an electrician. Remember, that's one of my strongholds in this whole channel, is to research. So just because you think it seems like, are you willing to be outside, whether it be in scorching heat, freezing weather? Do you really want to deal with all the different wires that are involved in it? And you want to maybe you don't want to get on a ladder and start looking and expecting what's going on. So definitely do your research in anything, whether it be your tropical fish, or whether it be your vocation in terms of what you want to do for a living. In this case, we're talking about becoming an electrician. Your qualifications. This is kind of important, because it's something you definitely want to look into in terms of, if you're going to become an electrician, are you 18 years of age? Some people will drop out of high school 14, 15, 16 years old, and that doesn't cut it. You need to be at least 18. You need a high school diploma or a graduate equivalency diploma, also known as a GED. That's here in the States. You must be in good physical shape, as I showed you in my previous slide. You might be climbing ladders, you might be outside, you might be in the cold. God forbid you get electrocuted. Accidents unfortunately do happen. So you want to be in good physical shape. You have dependable transportation to school and to work sites. Originally I'm from New York City, so you have a good route to get in terms of subways and buses, or do you live in a place like where I live in South Florida, where you need a car? Is your car reliable? Is it going to break down? Because you're going to be needed as an electrician to go to places, and so you need dependable transportation. Can you work by yourself or in a cohort? Can you do things on your own? Can you, or do you, can you kind of take, can you be with others and see what's going on? And can you follow directions? Because just because you're, oh, I know what I'm doing, it's important to follow step by step, especially when you're dealing with electricity, and God forbid that you may hurt yourself or really ruin the property that you're working on. So you need to be able to follow directions. Number 3 on the old Canvas slide here, trade school. This is for applying. You have definitely 2 avenues. You could apply to a trade school, like I showed you. You literally put in how to become an electrician, put in your zip code or your zip code in your country, and trade school will give you a school and lab training. So it should be also sponsored, or it should be approved by the Division of Industrial Relations in California. I put that in quotes because I had no idea what that was, but I saw that it dealt with that you need it in order to be approved to take the licensing test. You definitely want the licensing, or as they say in the Hispanic vernacular, you want the papelito. The papelito telling you that you are licensed and that you qualify, because you can go through all the trade school you want, and if you're not fully licensed, you won't be as employable as other people. Another avenue, which is pretty good, is to become an apprentice. An apprentice is simply that. You see my little picture here. You're learning from an expert. You're learning from somebody who's been in the trade. It could take you longer, 3 to 4 years, and it's a combination of the training, of the schooling, and the work experience. I think that's the better way to go, because you are, especially if you're going to deal with this for the rest of your life, you want to make sure that you know what you're doing and do it well. All right, continuing with my little Canvas slides here. Preparing for the test. You want to study for the National Code for Electricians, so you can sit for the test to be licensed. So you have to really know what's going on in terms of that there is a national code here in the United States of America for electricians, and you want to be able to study and prepare for that test. Just because you've taken your schooling and you become an apprentice or what have you, you definitely need to take time out to prepare for that test. It's just not gonna just happen. And last but not least, you need to pass your state electrician test. Now, I know that I have lots of subscribers outside of the United States. Take a look at your region, at your country, at your province, and see what is required, because hold on, let me flip the camera on. Something I noticed, and I'm limited, unfortunately, in my travels, but I know the few times that I've been into Europe, as an example, they use a different type of electricity. Their voltage is different, and you have to have a converter. Like if you want to bring like a steamer iron or something, or what have you, their electricity is different. So you really need to be aware of where you're going to be, where you're going to study, and you'll be able to use the information correctly. So that's why it's important that you just don't just willy-nilly this. You have to make sure that your state uses the right, and your country, your region, that you study the right form of electricity. And as we finish there, and something also I learned as I was doing research, you can do accumulated, because you need to have a certain amount of service hours and supervised hours. You just can't be, hey, I figured it out. You have to have service hours, and there's something called a T card in order to fulfill that. So you could do that while you are studying for your license test to become an electrician. That's why my little license is there. And so you really need to be there with others, so you can make this happen. You make this work. So make sure that you get your T card so you can get your supervised hours. I'm just going to show you again, like I did with air conditioning. The way I showed you the air conditioner and the unit. I'm just going to show you something the way I would show you a painting. I can't tell you the brush strokes that were used, or the canvas that was used, or the paint that was used, but I can show you a pretty picture. Well, that's what I'm going to do now. Is I'm just going to show you different things that you need to be aware of when you are doing electricity. Over here, these are things called sort of what's the word? Energy efficient light bulbs, and they kind of look like this. I just took one out. This one actually burned out, and it's important to know what kind of bulbs you are using. You see this one says soft white, because these are really things to go by, because electricity is becoming more and more expensive. So see what, and you need to learn what's the difference between energy efficient bulbs, incandescent bulbs, fluorescent bulbs. So these things are important. And you see here, this here is the light fixture in the dining room. You see here the light is lit up. You also want to make sure to see how these things are connected. You see that there's a wire here that goes to the ceiling, and how that is connected, who knows? I do not know, but that you as an electrician will know how to do that, where it connects and it will light up your whole structure here for lighting. Normally there is a picture here, but most, at least here in the States, we have these things called breakers. And if you open this up right over here, you will notice, I'm not going to touch it because I don't want to press the self-destruct button. You'll see here that there are definitely lots of instructions here on the whole idea of what you need to do or what not to do. But over here, I'm going to close up a little bit. You see, this has been here for I don't know how long. You see things that says relates to the range. We're referring to the range. Things like the freezer, the air conditioner. These are all the big sort of like the hub. You see whether it's on or off, the hub of the whole thing of washing and drying. And so all this is here. So this relates to the electricity and how it connects, and they're all interconnected within the house itself. I do recall when my mother, when she was alive, when she moved out of New York City, everything here, you see there's 3 prongs here, 1, 2, and 3. I'm talking here in the United States. My mom's was just those 2. And now the electricity is so much more strong, it's stronger, that it needs the 3 prongs here. And so this is something you're gonna have to learn what this is about and why it's better to have 3 instead of 2. And that's one of the things about electricity that's kind of important. Then you'll notice here, there are switches. These are the switches that they use here in the States. They'll kind of turn on and off. But you'll notice also that they'll have things here where it'll go up and down in terms of the intensity of light, but we don't have that. Other thing you could be aware of is you'll notice here that is a 3-way sort of lighting, because if you go up the stairs, there's the off switch and there's another switch right over here. So these are interesting little things about electricity that you need to know. Stepped outside because at least here in the United States, I like to emphasize the United States because that's where I am. Things like Christmas and Halloween, but definitely Christmas more. People have lots of lights, and the lights, what the deal is with the lights is that it's outside. People like to make their house look pretty and all that. I happen to live, as you can see, all the subtropical foliage. I live in a subtropical climate, so living in a subtropical climate, it's definitely warm and it's dry, but it will rain during Christmas time. But you also need to be aware of, let's say, if you live in a cold climate, the ice and the snow, how electricity can live and be cohesive in that regard. I just sat down here because I want you to see something too. It's right by my fish tanks and kind of to accentuate what we're talking about with electricity. Alright, so this little box, right, is outside. This is my little fish tanks are here, right? And so this box, when I first moved here in 2015, this was installed, and you'll see here this thing called a storm surge protector, right here. So this will protect from all the lightning and what have you, and the electricity goes out. But this box will keep it dry. And so that's important for you to know. This box also keeps, you see it's wet because it actually rained not so long ago. And this is what a storm surge protector will look like. And you'll see here that's important to learn, that the storm surge protector will be on. So when the electricity will increase because of lightning storms, you need to know about these storm surge protectors. And you'll notice that this wire here, this is an outdoor extension that actually goes to my fish tank over there, which I showed you about, and it goes, and also have a separate one of these, and you hear the electricity being used by my neighbor next door. So, and you really need to know how the electricity works. And so I have a separate one of these wires that will run for my heater for that tank in the winter time. That's all I got. I wanted to share those things because, again, it's like showing you a pretty painting. I don't know, the brush strokes or the paint or the canvas, but I definitely can appreciate a pretty painting. Same way I can appreciate electricity. It's really important. It's not just, hey, there's electricity, but that's just a sample of the things that are here just in this little house that are electrical. And only a trained electrician is able to understand that and to be able to grasp that. And so that's why I think that is a very, very valuable trade to learn in a trade school, becoming an electrician. This is Louis D. Fresh.